Hi Libra, love and light to you here. We are here with, this is your August reading. Welcome to it. Thank you for your patience with it. It's been so absolutely crazy busy lately. And we are in the Mercury retrograde period still. And it is the sun in Cancer. We've also got the sun in Cancer that we just moved out of, and the full moon in Capricorn. Let's not talk about that. Okay, that's my North Node. And it's been an eclipse season. So, thank you for your patience with my video here for you, Libra, with August. And let's get into it and see what comes through. It's interesting because I'm actually looking at these two wires on this pillow. They're like transparent threads, okay? And I was playing with these in the Taurus reading unnervingly. I'm hearing specifically. I don't know what that's alluding to, but someone perhaps really wants to have a conversation. They're twiddling their thumbs. I'm hearing they're tuning forks. I don't know. I'm hearing they're tapping them together. I don't know what that's alluding to. Maybe someone is like kind of doing some energy work to get a certain conversation flowing now. And I'm hearing, what do I tell them? What do I tell them? What do I tell them? I'm hearing, what do I tell them when I talk to them? What about it? I'm hearing specifically. And so there could be a lot of apprehension perhaps for someone here in the mix that feels that they are somewhat kind of, I'm hearing untouchable. I'm hearing tethered. I don't know what that's alluding to, but specifically I'm hearing for the announcement. Now, in the Taurus reading, there could be focus on that archetype for you, and we are all signs. We've all got every sign in our chart, right, Libra? Even though you are a sun sign Libra, you could have a lot of Taurus in your chart by way of your Venus sign, your Mars sign, your Moon sign, whatever it may be, Jupiter, by way of house placement, strongly placed Venus, so on and so forth. And if you are interested in your placements, you can calculate them via the link in the bio box below. Click through there and you can enter your birth information. It'll calculate it for you. Nonetheless, Libra. In the Taurus reading, there was this emphasis on the conversation point, okay? And I'm hearing this is a talk we need to have. I'm hearing it is a matter of leadership, but it's also a matter of leading out the discussion at the right time. It's not just a matter of just throwing the, I'm hearing the volleyball onto the court. I don't know what that's alluding to, but always, again, take it as you will. This is a matter of how we tell each other our first names first and our last names last. I don't know what that's alluding to, but someone here really wants to take things very slow. And if you're dealing with a Taurus, okay, I'm hearing they've got to take their time. They can kind of feel hesitant, reluctant to race the track here with you. I don't know what that's alluding to, but to even deem it as that, to say, yeah, hey, we're racing. Yeah, hey, you're a contestant and I'm a contestant. We're gonna win. Like, I don't know what someone does not like the thought of commitment. Okay, I'm hearing the idea of like intertwining. I'm hearing our hair and our hands make someone feel like they need to go find, I'm hearing Winnie the Pooh. I'm hearing, I don't know. Okay, Winnie the Pooh came through in the Taurus reading, big time. And I'm hearing it has to do with shaving. I'm hearing under the arms. I don't know what that's about, Libra. I'm hearing Taurus so strongly here, okay? But I'm hearing marry them. I'm hearing it's about whether you will marry them. I don't know what that's about, but I'm hearing put a ring on the finger. Okay, someone feels so much pressure here to, I'm hearing also announce something, okay? I'm hearing announce someone even as something, okay? And so the feeling for a number of you perhaps is that things have been growing in a certain direction and they've been kind of like pressurized, okay? And for a number of you, maybe you felt that there is a little bit of a sore spot that needs to be sanded. I'm hearing like something that needs to be sanded down. I don't know. It's like I'm hearing it's a coiled conversation, okay? Where maybe something wasn't quite fully kneaded out, okay? Like, and I'm seeing someone actually like there's a knot on one of these strings and on the other it's just kind of loose. I'm hearing the letter P related to the one that's just fully loose. And so, but I'm seeing like someone feels that there's pressure here, and I'm hearing parenting. I don't know what it's alluding to, but someone may have actually had some kind of pressure. I'm hearing actually from their past. I'm hearing childhood, something that happened even in the early childhood home that made them feel like, oh no. I'm hearing I cannot, I'm hearing there's no way in hell I am going to play that part anytime soon. Honey, I'm hearing please, if you want the pot for the food to be packed in for lunch for the kids tomorrow, I'm hearing I'm hearing at the pole. I don't know what this is alluding to. I'm hearing pole. I'm hearing the poles. I'm hearing the poles. I'm hearing North Pole. I'm hearing announcement. I'm hearing dancing. I don't know what this is alluding to. I'm hearing the pole in my hand. I don't know. And I'm seeing someone actually golfing. And I'm hearing this is not a chest. I'm hearing with drums in it. I don't know. I'm hearing solo drums. Okay. I don't know what that's alluding to. But again, it's like I'm seeing someone feeling like that. One second. There's a lot of pressure. I'm hearing Taurus so strongly, Libra. There is a lot of pressure here, and someone doesn't want to pull the rug. Also, I'm hearing from beneath the conversation, like they don't want to kind of like just completely like I'm hearing genie in the bottle that one out. Okay. But they have to tell their parents something. I'm hearing, and it needs to come from somewhere. I'm hearing, and someone's got to be the one who's gonna do the digging. I don't know what that is about, but yeah. And then there will be also a conversational element there. I'm hearing, but we don't want to have to be the ones who, plaster them to the wall to have the announcement. I don't know what that's alluding to. I'm hearing together. Now, for a number of you, I'm seeing that you actually are involved with someone. You have someone in mind. Okay, whoever it is that you're thinking of, let's say you may have someone in mind. There is someone who has actually really played a very, very profound part in your development. I'm hearing in your senior year there. I'm hearing as well. I'm hearing SU. Okay, and I'm seeing that for the two of you, this has not been an easy talk. It's not been an easy time and place. I'm hearing it's felt shallow at times. It's felt shouldered. And it's been also, for a number of you, I'm hearing actually painful. I'm not sure what that's alluding to, but it's like I'm hearing shoulder pain. I don't know. I'm hearing pain that we need to shoulder, be it, metaphoric, whatever it is. But at the end of the day, we realize that closing our eyes and going to sleep doesn't close the book and the chapter that we're on. We realize that every day there is new information. I'm hearing also that needs to be shared. I'm not sure what that's alluding to, but maybe someone feels also that someone else is a closed book, especially when it comes to more intimate matters. And it might be actually related to someone's turn-ons. I'm hearing in that way, like someone is just I'm hearing they're not ready yet. Also maybe to share that side of what their of what their sensuality, I'm hearing as they feel it kind of can be defined as, like, I'm seeing someone kind of wondering, like, what do you like attracted to, like, and they don't really have the GoPro, I'm hearing, to like announce that there. I don't know what that's alluding to, but anyhow, Libra, at the end of the day, all we can really do is kind of laugh it off, and after a while that also makes the lake look awkward in relation to the size of the boat that's sailing on it. I don't know what that's alluding to, but we can kind of say, like, yeah, I'm hearing we're here on this chalet. I'm hearing on the side of the lake, looking at the river. I'm hearing you look romantically at me with your eyes like that, and I wink back. But we don't ever get to the core of what this all means to either one of us. And I don't want to have to leave it at that. I don't want to have to also write a letter about that. It should be something that we believe in addressing as something, at least. And if it's not on your agenda to address it with me here. And I'm hearing that someone might, be kind of even be thinking this or having this conversation or thinking about delivering this kind of information. What are we doing with the boat? I'm hearing specifically, and this came through in the Taurus reading. I'm hearing your Venus sign. I don't know what that's alluding to, but you could have your Venus in Taurus if you'd like to calculate that. You can do so by clicking the link in the bio box below. Click through there. You'll get routed to it. And I'm seeing someone has a fear of the dark for some reason. Like, I don't know what that's alluding to. Be it related to the unknown, be it related to something of the past, okay? It's like, oh, when we talk about that, it takes me to like, I'm hearing Tennessee. I'm hearing it takes me back to Tinseltown. It takes me back to where I thought I came from, and that tests me terribly. I'm hearing in the space of who I think I am, and that makes me feel like we can't have this conversation, and that hurts someone. That really hurts someone like so badly. It makes someone feel like they're not worth talking to, okay? But let's say it like this. And I said this in the Taurus reading as well. If someone's not willing or ready to talk about something, okay, some aspect of their life, that is not a reflection of you necessarily, right? It's not a reflection of the other person. If someone makes a decision, it's not necessarily a reflection of the contrary potential decision that they could have made that's related to that decision that they did make, right? The decision that they make is and can be perceived in so many ways, depending on perspective. It's all perspective, Libra, right? And whoever else is watching, we've all got Libra in our chart somewhere. But the feeling is that someone is so freaking done playing this game of like, I'm going to maybe tell you and then maybe not, and then I'm going to tell myself that I don't care about it, and then I'm going to like talk to myself later that night and tell myself that, I really do, and I should make that known. I'm hearing, I'm tired of the circles that I encircle myself with in this relationship. Of emotional, I'm hearing cognition. I'm hearing understanding of what I love. I'm hearing as well. For number, this could be you with you, right? It could be like, how do I come to terms with what I really feel about what I want to do in my life? What's my mission statement? I'm hearing for a number of you. And so for a number of you, I'm hearing acrobatics. I'm hearing, I believe I can fly. It's like you see such a long distance future for yourself. Let me say it in this way. And what does that really mean? And to say that it might be, right, how do you say, I see so much can be. But I see what can be being not where I have been. And that makes me feel like I need to be there in order to become one with all of my being. Powerful Libra, powerful stuff here. For a number of you, you don't want to have to leave that as a letter at the door. Okay, you don't want to have to perhaps have that even contracted out. I'm hearing legally, maybe you don't want to have to, also listen to others talk about it. I'm hearing after you've announced it. There's something that perhaps you feel is a little bit, I'm hearing oblong in shape. I'm hearing into the future, like it isn't perfectly sort of circular, cyclical, predictable. There is a little bit of, I'm hearing, again, a matter of also distance. Like for a number of you, I'm hearing, I'm not ready to like get married. I'm hearing as well for a number, I'm not ready to make also money from this space. For a number of you, maybe it's something that is a craft, is a hobby, but you just feel like it's too much pressure to now start thinking about the financial side of things. And it's like, that's really taking the whack-a-mole out of the ground and making him feel like he now has to adapt to sustaining life above earth. I'm hearing above ground. I'm hearing also on ground. I'm not sure what that's alluding to, but it's something that just feels like someone feels like out of the habitat. I'm hearing out of context, taken out of context. Maybe they feel that they are pressured to kind of operate in a space that they don't feel is quite. Also, I'm hearing community. I'm hearing ready for the community. And it could be this feeling of like, well, you know, if I were to announce this or come out with this, what would everyone say? And, you know, in a way, that's not really the race, is it? The race is not a matter of where your announcement ends up, okay? It's like, if I won the race, if I didn't, if I just simply raced and that was all that I remember of it, what the heck does that have to do with where others rewind the tape to? Everyone's going to play your work again. Everyone's going to have something to say about it. It's not going to be always what you thought they would think as well about it. In other words, what you think also about what you thought about what you did, I'm not sure what that's alluding to, but be it a certain cycle or process or project or whatever you felt that you accomplished in some kind of way. What is accomplishment, right? But in the space of subjectivity, of your personal experience, how is it that you don't give thought to, right? How others could think about it back to you. It's like, oh, this is what I think about my accomplishment. Oh, yeah, so universe, call me back on that one. What do you think? Well, give me the feedback. Like, it's irrelevant, right? In a way, what someone else has to say about how they think about what you thought about what you think, or about what you have thought about your space for a certain period of time, prove or disprove any point of truth for you, of what's valid, of what's real and what's meaningful for you in your life. So, in other words, whatever it is that you see yourself also doing in the future, how is it that it doesn't really relate to how others will respond to it? You're not there yet, right? How can others be? Even in the way they think about where you see yourself being who you are. So I'm hearing Taurus, Libra. I'm hearing like a lady. I'm not sure what that's alluding to, but I'm hearing red, red wine. Stay here with me. Don't you be my love. I don't know if those lyrics, but. And I'm seeing here Taurus that, I'm hearing Taurus strongly. Yeah, there's someone who you really, like, you perhaps met and you feel very attracted to, but be it a project also. But you just, I'm hearing lady in red, like, she's dancing with me. But it's something that's just off. Like, something is off. I'm hearing, we gotta call it out. Like, and it be at the timing. Just bad timing. Sorry, universe. Cut. I'm hearing we need to bring this back like next semester. Okay? Yeah. Sorry. I know. I wanted to work with you here. I really did, but it's not telling me to go home yet. I'm hearing as well. And so for a number of you, I'm hearing you're telling your parents I'm hearing your gum choked you. I don't know what that's alluding to. I don't know what that's alluding to. I'm hearing there's something that perhaps you're delaying with, okay? Like you're pausing, okay? Like usually if someone is chewing gum, they're kind of like maybe playing around. They're like, not maybe kind of like, not to judge in any way, right? Just because someone maybe is chewing bubble gum doesn't mean that they're not serious about whatever they're talking about also necessarily. But I'm just kind of coming through it in this way. This could be a perception that someone has, right? But maybe someone, again, is not given like a final answer, okay, about their future. I'm hearing specifically. And I'm hearing Alan. I'm hearing Luke Skywalker, okay. And I'm hearing, what are they going to think? What are they going to think? What are they going to think? I'm hearing about the children. Okay. And then it's like, I'm seeing, I'm hearing teacher strongly, but okay, let's backtrack. Now, yeah, then the feeling again is, if someone is kind of chewing bubblegum they could be depicted in a way, like some, gum in their mouth, they're kind of taking their time, but then, maybe someone's talking to them and they're like, the time is taken by the time that it takes to chew the gum, okay? It's like, the priority perhaps is not to say what they need to say. And so the feeling may be that there is kind of a lagging period with something, be it with the response, be it with giving a final answer, a final notice. And so if you think about, it's like someone may be feeling like there are excuses. Okay, like someone may be making excuses. Like, why are you not actually like getting your flight back? Like, why aren't you getting your ticket home? What's with all of the talking and the turning and the gesturing and the motivational speeches, and then the no man's land talk? I don't know what that's alluding to. Like, I don't know where anything is. I don't know where anything's gonna be. Like, I don't know what that's alluding to. But I'm hearing a teacher who like doesn't talk about anything, but just talks about talking. Like, I don't know. Like, I mean, someone even giving like a presentation, they're like, yes, I'm hearing teaching skills, teaching, talking, and teachers usually talk. That's what teachers do. I mean, they get up and they tell each other also what they do. I don't know what that's alluding to, but anyways, the Libra, the feeling may be that, there is, again, this dilly-dallying, okay, with the eventual outcome, and how everyone kind of gathers around the campfire to talk about it together. And I'm hearing at the end of the day, the feeling is that life is not a prescription. I'm hearing we don't hold the values for everything. I'm hearing even if we do have an estimate, it's not always going to be, right, the practiced course. There will be a little bit of kind of processing at every step and stage of the way. And so staying in the way that maybe even that's how someone feels, that it's not always going to be a direct road or path to I'm hearing to the I'm hearing to the past. Okay, interesting. So what I'm seeing is that someone may actually have had a certain project or like projected course. They may have had even a schedule or a timeline, and they told themselves, by this date I'm going to definitely be out of here, I'm going to be done. And I'm hearing soccer, I'm hearing go the letter G, and it's like I'm hearing they way overturned that tally. I don't know what that's about, but like things were taken like way, I'm hearing like they took a real long time, and it turned everyone off the boat. Like everyone jumped off the boat, and I'm hearing there was one person still standing on that boat, and they're wondering where I'm hearing Shirley Temple went. I'm hearing specifically where's I'm hearing the letter S, Shiva. I'm hearing where's I'm hearing Charlotte. I'm hearing what's up with I'm hearing Sheree as well. What's going on with all of the shapes I'm hearing on the ground that are now kind of moving and shifting into place? Interesting. So I'm seeing someone actually, it's really interesting. I'm hearing that this is related to the concept of the passage of time. Okay, I'm seeing someone on a ship. I'm hearing on the rainbows of shore. I don't know what that's. I'm hearing of time, and they're on this ship, and it feels like story time, doesn't it? It's kind of interesting. And this came through in the Venus reading. I keep saying Venus for Taurus, in the Taurus reading. For now, you may have your Venus in Taurus. Okay, you may want to check it. You're always whatever you feel guided to calculate and compute, but you can do so by clicking the link in the bio box below. All right, Leo, okay, coming through right there. Now, nonetheless, there can be a focus on that archetype, but the feeling is, again, that it's like I'm seeing someone on a ship, and they're like, should I just jump? I'm hearing, and like, I don't know how to swim, but should I just learn how to swim? Should I just use command control here? I don't know what that's alluding to, but it's like, what's the verdict I'm hearing as well? What's the vapor rule I'm hearing as well? I don't know what that's alluding to, but it's like there is perhaps some I'm hearing also misnomer effect. I don't know what that's alluding to, but someone perhaps feels like something is misplaced, like something is like misinterpreted or misnamed or like not directly addressed as well in some kind of way. And it feels undercover, I don't know, in some kind of way. Someone maybe feels like they need to hide their identity. They feel like they need to like be someone that they're not. They feel like they're taken in that way. Maybe they feel just uncomfortable in the space of presenting who they actually do see themselves as. I'm not sure what that's alluding to. Be it again with this sense of context, a question of the context. Like, let's say, what does the present have to do with the future, and what is it that I'm kind of doing right here, right now? What does that have to do with the future that I see? And so, for a number of you, I'm hearing there is someone that you know who's incredibly inspiring. Incredibly. They see everything for you. They see the potential. They see the potential that the potential leads to. Okay? Like, they really, they cheer you on, and they take the eggs that are thrown at you, and they hold them in hand. I'm hearing, like, catch a can. I'm hearing can. I don't know what that's alluding. I'm hearing, like, almost like a Pokemon character who, like, catches the egg in hand. They're like, roar! You're not gonna get to Romeo there. I'm hearing he's gotta remember his last name. I don't know what that's alluding to, but he's someone who perhaps even has this air of protection around you in some kind of way. And I'm hearing the letter L, and I'm hearing legally as well. For a number of you, there is perhaps something that is even in place that in a certain way may justify the keys that are jingled around in the room. And I'm not sure what that's alluding to, but always, again, take it as you will, Libra. Right? How many people are watching? It may resonate differently for everyone, right? But at the same time, I'm hearing there's been a little bit of this game of like intimacy, but then kind of, I'm hearing counseling, but then kind of retreat. I mean, I'm seeing a lot of like passive. I'm hearing also passive inaction. I'm hearing passive integration. Okay, I'm seeing this feeling that things are dissociated but connected. Okay, distanced but connected together. It's really kind of polarizing, to be honest, Libra. I'm hearing Leo so strongly. Like, there's something that perhaps you feel like we're growing apart, but we're still together. We're growing out of the pot, but we're still two seeds, I'm hearing, that have surfaced as one. I don't know what that's alluding to, but it's like, yeah, okay, we feel perhaps like, I'm seeing like twins even. Like, I'm hearing like growing up. I'm hearing nascere, which means in Italian to be born, and I'm hearing crescere, which means to grow. And that's, yeah, in Italian. And so I don't know what that's alluding to, but again, something even like historical related to history. I'm hearing the Roman Calgary. Okay, Leo. Now the feeling I'm hearing strongly, Leo. I thought I was saying Libra. See, it's so interesting. There's something that perhaps is inseparable. Okay, like it feels inseparable. In some kind of way, even if it's taken out of context, where someone feels like no matter what the question is, there's always going to be the same point. I'm hearing that we reach with it. And no matter what the question mark looks like, I'm hearing the philosophy of the question will always be the same in some shape or form. And so, you know, I'm saying for a number of you that there is even a philosophy to the space where you feel like I keep referencing this emotional space and not really directly addressing it. And for someone, again, it's like it feels really off. It feels off, but then it feels on. It feels in, and it feels out. It feels around, it feels within. It feels, and then it doesn't feel. I'm hearing like anything at all. Sometimes it feels like we're racing on a track that doesn't have I'm hearing a roll call sheet. Like we feel like we're alone in that process of directly addressing, of deciding even on our future. And I'm seeing, though, for a number of you, that this is somewhat related to your discovery process, where you're like, you know, it's a process, it's an evolution, and it's called that for a reason, right? We don't just kind of like decide right? To also end a certain process of transformation and growth. We don't just decide like, that's it. This is the end. That's it. Bye guys. Okay, I'm out. Like, this is, not just telling, your teachers that the test wasn't fair enough. You know what I'm saying? It's like, this is not just talking to also the front door and telling it that the walls aren't working. Like, I don't know what that's alluding to, but it's like, if there is a problem, Libra, right? There is always a solution. But how it is that we directly face it becomes so much of the answer of how it is that we find it. And so if you've been in a process and you're wondering, I just feel like it's going nowhere. Why is it that Walter is not working with me here? Why is it, if you're in a project, if you're trying to find a solution within a team, a dynamic that just is not working, and you're like, what's going on here? Why is it just not working out? I'm hearing on the volleyball court specifically, like something that, whatever it is. It's like, it's not always just a matter of how we all wake up in the morning and we all show up and we're all here willing to work together, and then we all kind of like walk the same, I'm hearing the same line together, and then we all kind of work, and then we have lunch, and then we walk away from each other, and then we wake up again. I'm hearing at the end of the Super Bowl. I'm hearing to sound it all out. I don't know what it's like, something cyclical, right? No, I'm hearing this is like everyone has a story, and everyone's story is an announcement that they make on their own. Okay? Everyone has a very intimate relationship with the universe in their own way. And to say that someone is ready to do something at a certain time, right? And that inevitably means that someone else should similarly be in parallel with that same plan and path, is to suggest that we don't walk our path, but that we work to create it together. And if you think about that concept, right? It's like, what does it mean to like walk a path, and what does it mean to be the living embodiment of that space, of my story that I live and I breathe and I tell at certain times to certain people in certain ways, and I tell myself I'm ready to even listen to on my own terms, to myself, with myself. When is it that I feel ready to regard even a certain aspect of myself? It's not just when, let's say, someone has stirred me in my seat to tell me the same part of their story. And for a number of you, this has to just do with a really private conversation that someone feels unwilling to have. Somebody feels like, I can't have this conversation yet. Even if it means waking up on the other side of the bed. I don't know what that's alluding to, but it's like, it goes deep, right? Like, someone may feel that I'm here because I'm lost without you, baby. But I want my lonely man. I don't know, what is that? Something Kruger? Anyways, it's like, and that doesn't also mean just because someone is not, it doesn't mean that someone also doesn't feel connected or close to the other person just because they're not willing to have a certain conversation about themselves at a certain point in time in synchrony with you. An example is, let's say someone comes up to you and they're like, or you go up to someone and you're like, So this is my favorite color, and this is how I love to color in my notebook with my crayons, my coloring pencils. These are the types of shapes that I like to make, and this is how I want to teach my kids to do the same. Okay, and then I'm seeing someone else responding to that with something completely irrelevant to that. Okay, like almost like kind of changing the subject. Okay, I'm hearing taking like tango and turning it into I'm hearing like soft talk. I'm hearing softball. I don't know what this is. Like someone talks about something even like very romantic, and then someone responds with like a hit to the face. I'm hearing a slap to the face. Like, so what do you think about the race last night? Did you think that was a good part? I'm hearing on Romeo. I don't know what that is alluding to, but I'm seeing it as almost like a football player or a baseball, specifically softball. I'm seeing specifically. And like someone takes offense to that. Like, why did you not keep the convo going? I'm hearing Playboy. Why didn't we keep talking about the parenting thing? I'm hearing as well for a number of you. And yeah, I'm hearing someone is not perhaps serious. I'm hearing also sure of their story there yet with that. And it could go back to their experience within that space on a personal level. So this came through also in the Taurus reading, dear Libra. You may want to check that reading out if you feel that there might be overlap there, right? Something about maybe a very serious conversation that you feel like you're waiting to have also with someone, and maybe someone's just not coming around, and they're kind of just taking the time with it. And you could just be really wondering, what's to come? Like, if you're not even willing to have the conversation, like, what does that mean? What's to come? What does that lead to? And I'm hearing someone may just kind of, from in a very pure way, and what is considered pure, like, want to just get to know someone, and someone could feel very much also attacked, and I don't know what that's alluding to, but like, whoa, why do you want to know about like my influence from my parents? Why is that relevant? I'm hearing specifically like someone just doesn't want to maybe talk about a certain, and that maybe kind of turns someone in a certain way in their seat. Like, wait, okay, anybody have more shapes on the wall that they wanna work with here? I don't know, that they want to talk about? I'm hearing that they want to kind of awaken us all too. Anybody have suggestions? I'm hearing that this is almost like, it's interesting, like in a teaching space, okay? And like, again, like someone even talks to someone's teacher or like something, and they're like, I don't want to talk about my parents. I don't know what that's about, but anyways, Libra. I'm hearing take the table out of the conversation. Okay, it's like, it doesn't have to do perhaps with the context. I'm hearing as well. Again, it's not necessarily personal. Just because the table is there doesn't mean that everyone's willing or ready to have a conversation about what has been also had at that table before. Like, just because maybe certain people were willing to have that conversation at certain times doesn't mean that everyone's going to be willing to have a conversation like that at certain times. And this could go in a number of ways, right? Let's say, for example, you're in a partnership or relationship with someone, and you find yourself questioning, their actions a lot. Like, this isn't like, maybe they respond in a certain way to certain questions. Let's say you pose a question, you're like, what do you think about parenting? And then like they're like, I think that I need to again, I'm hearing pull. I don't know what that's alluding to. Was that in the Taurus reading or the Libra? Was in the Libra? Yeah, it came through in the Libra reading. Like, there's something like I'm hearing like pull specifically. And if you think about a pull, it's like steel, right? Metal, iron, grid. I'm hearing specifically. There is something. I'm hearing gate. Okay, like someone feels that perhaps they need to get connected in some way to some kind of. Somebody's not ready to have a conversation, and that's just that, Libra. I'm hearing it's really, and for some of you, I'm seeing like that's like, I don't get it though. How can Gary not want to talk about how cute Gary's kids could be? Okay, I'm like really hearing like that. Wow, in the heck could he not think that that is a romantic gesture? I'm hearing as well, like, isn't he a Libra? I'm hearing, wait a second, it could be a crosswatch you're watching. Isn't he a Taurus? Hold on a second, don't they love talking about beautiful things? Okay, well, guess what? children are beautiful. I'm hearing so are what they wear, so are what they work on when they're working together with each other, when they're doing the crafts. Isn't that cute? Like, don't, you know, I'm seeing someone maybe even was on a date or something, and they maybe had even posed like what they thought was kind of a cute question, like, oh, like, so what do you like have visions of your kids, like, you know, maybe two people talking about, like, don't you have visions of like what your kids would wear, like if they would match? And then I'm seeing someone like they completely they go cold, okay, like stone cold, you know, whitewashed, sort of they look drained. I'm very like at the end of the question mark and point of that question that was posed with like did you like the shrimp? Because I thought it was just a little too spicy, and I think I'm gonna need to go get or I'm needing to go get the dictionary, because I'm losing my words and this is not working. Like, I'm hearing someone just make something so awkward and like backs out and like doesn't regard even the question, and then it leaves the other person feeling like, did I work on the math problem wrong with you here? What did I say? Did I say that you're like a salty wound and that I wanna purposely like hurt you? Like, I would never want to like even, and I'm seeing someone maybe even they pressed on like a button that they didn't know like was there. Okay, they didn't know that they were pressing on it, and that made someone feel like really bad. really not I'm hearing like comfortable, but I'm hearing more so kind of like safe. Okay, they felt like, whoa, so this is a dynamite zone. I could step anywhere here and you could just like pop like that? No. I'm hearing, I'm sorry, but I don't know what I did. I'm hearing specifically, and it could, you know, eventually lead someone to consider calling it quits. Even like someone may feel like, I can't sit here and like caption every void of our conversation and like, you know, say, oh, this is what I mean and that's what I mean and I don't mean that. You know, that's not comfortable either. I don't want to have to feel like I have to like trace my steps and my lines and my conversations and draw, you know, sort of like I'm hearing diameters of width between them all, like, oh, this is what I said that day, and that's how that connected to that, what I said on that day, and that's unrelated, and when I said kids that day, and that didn't mean the kids that I mean today when I'm pointing to the kids sitting in the park. I'm not talking about, you know, how they're cute on the tricycle, because I'm talking to you about the table conversation of last year. Like, I don't know what I'm hearing, though, also the teachers. I'm hearing, okay, specifically. So there's something perhaps I'm hearing it's not time. I'm hearing it's not time to navigate that ship quite yet. I'm hearing specifically with I'm hearing the Navajo looking I'm hearing Nate. I'm hearing Nate Barbados. I'm hearing Barbados. I'm hearing Barbados. I'm hearing BB. I'm hearing Nate. Yeah, I'm hearing that's a no. I'm hearing no go. I'm hearing no one looks at their I'm hearing at the personality like that. I don't know what that's alluding to, but maybe someone feels like just very private also. Like, I don't want to be president. I'm hearing like someone like kind of coming forward and being like, president? I don't want to be president, and I don't want to be presenting my personhood. I'm hearing for any audience, and that includes my Grand Theft Auto shared ride. I don't know what that is alluding to. Shared ride on the I don't play that video game, so I've never really played that video game, so I don't know. I've never played that video. I don't know what that is alluding to, but shared ride, isn't that kind of like if you imagine two people, like, oh, this is my, like, we're in cahoots, like, I don't know, together, like, my accomplice, like, and even he doesn't know, like, what my grandmother meant to me. I don't know what that is alluding to, but again, like, maybe someone just has a thing about vulnerability, and, you know, how do we, it was interesting, because I actually mentioned this in the Taurus reading, how do we get someone to to play our game with us, but not by way of us pulling, okay, like on the rope, and then feeling like we need to tug on it, because that's also not really kind of the kind of tension that we want to get the talk rolling with, right? It's like we don't want to have to like yank on the what is it? I'm seeing like two people on a boat together, and they've got this like, and it's like a seesaw thing. Okay, I don't know what this is about relating to, but seesaw thing. They're pulling on some kind of rope together, and it's kind of like, it's got a rhythm to it. And to keep it going, it's like I talk, you talk, your turn, my turn. We do what we do. We as individuals, I'm hearing specifically, interesting. And it's like, the question is, I think ultimately someone really is wondering, where does this all go? Somebody's really wondering, where does the Nantucket storyline really venture off to when we're not reading the lines off verbatim, right? It's like when everything is kind of like not really planned as a practice, when we're kind of perhaps more feeling the space out rather than, let's say, delivering what is the sort of decision I'm hearing also of others. I don't know what that's about, Libra, but maybe there's a little bit of a space of like, oh, this is kind of determined or whatever, and then someone feels like, wow, well, it's time to start kind of experimenting with the next steps of where this could go, and we're ready to kind of take it there. And it's like when we're talking about when we're talking about the emotional side of that story, it's not just you do what I do and I do what you do, because we can't program our emotions, right? I can't tell you, oh, we can't plan our emotions even. Oh, you're gonna feel this way, I'm gonna feel that way, we're both gonna feel that way together, right? Got it? Okay. Action. No, right? I mean, this is I'm hearing a virtual reality. I'm hearing specifically test, and we're both testing the theory out, and we have to be kind of open to test certain parts of our theories out at different times that work independently for each of us, to ensure that we're going to be talking about the same thing at the same time at the right time for us both. And I'm seeing that there is perhaps even a little bit of a space of like negotiation. Maybe someone feels like, I don't want to have to like, ring the doorbell that loud to make it known that this is a conversation that I want to have. And I also don't want to like kind of tell myself it doesn't matter. Also, it's like I don't want to have to pretend like I don't care, but I do care. And I also, though, don't want to make it seem like I need to tell them to care too. So it's like, how do you find that balance of what you believe in and what you want to believe in with another, but that you don't necessarily want to become one with because you want that, okay? Like, you know what I'm saying? You don't want to have to make it something that's looking at you in the way that you look at it. It should just kind of be natural, right? What do you think? So the feeling I'm getting, specifically Libra right here, right before we tune it out, is that that there is a future here. I'm hearing, and it's interesting, okay, I'm creating like a shape here, like a circle, and then it's created the image of like a turtle with its head like held up high. And what does that kind of symbolize, right? A turtle speaks of time and how it moves slowly and patience and the earth, right? The turtle kind of crawls on the earth and is also an emblem of time in a way, right? It's like a living sort of a reflection of time and how it passes and how it still continues, right, in a way. So it's interesting. Perhaps for a number of you there is a question of commitment, and you may really be thinking, well, when is it going to be, and what will kind of be, and why is it not becoming, and yet something. And you know, again, I'm seeing for a number of you that you, perhaps for a number of you, you're I'm seeing the letter T, you're thinking about turning the page, and it's going to require a little bit of timing, okay? And this came through big time for Taurus, like big time, like timing, but also testing. I'm hearing theory, and you know, we can have an idea of how things work, but then ultimately time is the one who tells itself, right? It's like, it will be what it will be. Okay, and so, you know, it's kind of like there may be turns on the pike that we don't really fully prepare for, even if we have prepared for them. There will be things that we don't always, perhaps, and this might be something that you are telling someone. It's like, you know, maybe if someone doesn't feel prepared, you may be telling them, well, maybe you'll never feel prepared. Like, maybe this will be something where it's not a matter of preparation. Maybe this is a matter of practicality. I'm hearing specifically how you consider the concept of even what is practical. Is it something that is promised, or is it something that you participate in, that you can contribute to, that makes you feel that it is a practice? And so I think it really comes down to the concept of stability and what holds value over time. And so again, that space and that question of commitment might be a challenge in some way to hold as a conversation, and may have a sort of difference, okay? A contrast for everyone involved, okay? A contrast of meaning, to say it in the way that everyone can kind of interpret the conversation about commitment in a totally different way. And it will always be subjective to their personal relationship with that concept. In my personal life, and that does not hold for anything, right? In my personal life, what does commitment mean for me? How am I committed to my life right here, right now? And then when I take that concept and I open it up in a public way or with another person, then how does it hold? And that might kind of take time to even begin to play with, as I'm hearing even a term that's used. Okay, interesting. So it can be the question even itself of conversation, like even talking, communication. And if we're, again, I'm hearing specifically, remember, if we're not willing to talk, or you know, we need to be willing to talk, or what does it mean to talk, and what does it mean to actually address the concept of communication. All right, so thank you so much for tuning in. I would like to enjoy this period. Dear Libra, enjoy August. Have a beautiful month. Let me know if you have any questions in the comments below. Thank you all so much for your support with these readings and the channel overall. Thank you all so much for your support energetically above and beyond all, Libra. Love and light. I'll see you soon. Bye.